Hola, everybody. What's going on? This is Albert Campa with CantinaMX podcast. Once again, here on a Thursday night. This is episode 219. And we are here with a group of gentlemen. First off, introducing Joel. How's it going, Joel?
Greetings, Chiquis. Everything is going pretty well for me, despite my goats not doing so good.
Oh, yes. The Suffering Goats thought they would get a win against Pumas. I know your feels. Going down the line, we have John, who's on the road. How's it going, John?
It is going very well. Glad to be back on. It's been a while since I've been on, so I'm happy to be on again. I am between, I don't know where I am. I think I'm in Georgetown, Texas right now, heading back home. The NBA season is about to start in a couple weeks, so I'll be somewhat limited again for the next few months or so. Doing a lot of drive time shows here in the CantinaMX podcast, but I'm looking forward to it. It should be a lot of fun. And I do have a bit of news that I saw this today while I was stuck in traffic. That our good friend Ricardo Peláez is in conversations with with Chivas, and so there's a possibility that we might see Ricardo Peláez pulling the strings for Chivas. Although we'll see how that turns out. They may or may not want to pay him, and he may or may not realize that Chivas has to pay 3 and 4 times what it costs for a normal player to get. So we'll see how that plays.
Oh, the money. Chivas is going to have to spend. All right, good to have you on. And our final panelist we have is Jaime from North California. How's it going, Jaime?
Hey everybody, I am just doing great. Recovering from yesterday's Chivas game here in Sacramento, and happy to be on today and talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, we got some good pictures from you on the Chivas friendly, so that's good to see. Oh, you also did a Periscope or a Twitter live. Noticed that on the Cantina MX Twitter account. So good
Yeah,
stuff.
I try to convey the game. It's kind of hard when you're solo. So I was like, I had my the phone on the tripod, and then I was trying to catch some of the fans. Ava Rente was there, and they were really good.
Did they play in the baseball stadium?
Unfortunately, yeah, they played at the Sacramento River Cats baseball field, and I feel bad for the fans, because it's just not laid for a soccer game, and some of the fans were really far away from the pitch.
Right.
Yeah.
That is unfortunate for now. Did Chivas actually win the game, or did the Butterflies win?
So it was a pretty tough game to watch. Luckily I was too busy taking photos, but they used their banca. Like they didn't really have their star players playing out there. And then they switched goalkeepers at halftime, and it looked like it was gonna head to a draw, but Morelia scored a goal at the 89th minute, right at the buzzer beater, and they took away the win.
So you had Chi
Was
Hermanos at the end of the show of the game. Then you had some Chi Hermanos. Then a lot of crying and
the
Man,
leaving the stadium.
Gonzalo cannot catch a break.
the meme, it's the gift that keeps giving right now, and everybody's cashing in on it.
That is unfortunate for Chivas fans. Now, former Chivas coaches made the news this week. Joel Matias Almeida, who was apparently signed, sealed, and delivered to go
Yes,
to Monterrey at the conclusion of the San Jose Earthquake season, where he improved their standing from a year ago, but lost the last 6 matches, and all they had to do was win, I think, one of them to make the postseason. So they had a complete collapse at the end of the season. And now Matias Almeida said well, no, I'm going to stay here. Is not going to having Matias Almeida's pretty face on the sideline. It's going to be Turco Mohamed. But Joel, you have a very strong opinion.
Yes.
Almeida.
Yeah, there's all this praising going on. I saw as soon as he turned down, well, allegedly turned down Monterrey, and and I saw a lot of my Chivas hermanos, cause like in the days leading up to that, I was seeing a lot of cambiarrayas. I was seeing all these Chivas fans already talking about Monterrey and whatnot, and
Right.
and then as soon as he said no, they were saying, oh well, his heart is set only for Chivas if he returns. But I'm like, this is part of the Mati charm, where he's like a sweet talker, and he knows what to say, and how he was
That
talking about
smile,
how the
that damn smile.
the wink and the smile. Oh, but yeah, he said how he believed in the San Jose project and he and whatnot. But I'm like, okay, well, if you wanted to stay, you would have came out and said that before the team went into their final match, their big final match of the season against the Timbers that was must win. But he stayed
Yeah,
quiet. He never said anything. Uh, he could have said, "No, I'm staying in San Jose. I'm staying put at least one more season." But he didn't say nothing. And so the rumor is that the negotiations was between like promoters, and that's what broke down. And eventually, that's what now he has to stay. He has to
So
stay in.
Joel, is it the Capitan Cavernicola? Is it the fact that he won a championship, or the fact that after winning a championship, he was holding a baby goat in his arms? Is,
Oh,
is
it's
that
all of
why some
those.
Chianos? It's all of those. Okay.
Yeah.
So he has him. He's like the red witch. He has them all under a spell, and like House Baratheon, have a new city,
Yeah.
and the Matias
It's
is the picture.
holding the coach. That's pretty much it. And I'm not saying not to not like the coach. He's very charismatic. But I'm saying to fans, at least pay attention to what he does. He says one thing and then he'll do another one. And I remind some of my Chiva hermanos when he said he was getting the badge. He said, "I'm gonna tattoo the badge. I'm gonna get a tattoo of the Chivas
cool
badge," and he ended up getting the trophy.
trophy.
And I'm
Yeah,
still waiting for that tag, man. Hey, I mean, so I'm not taking, uh, I'm just saying, dude. So that's my whole take on Mati, because it's it's crazy seeing the Chiva fans just fawning over him and thinking that he could do no bad. And hey man, this guy's already on 3 straight seasons not being able to get to Liguilla. His numbers aren't that good in league, and that's where I get a lot of the, you know, I come across as a hater for pointing that out. But it's something like John, and we agree on this. Mati's really good, like in cup style tournaments, but in the long season format, just not so good. Because
Well,
if
I mean, his biggest problem, Joel, and even happy, even when Chivas won, was that he just, for whatever reason, he just can't get his team to play well at home. And
yeah, that's
the last
that's
few
a
years he was at Chivas, I mean, I think they won like 2 home games out of 17. And he didn't do particularly well at home with San Jose either.
yeah.
So
They lost 6 consecutive times, to end up the season. The
yeah.
Earthquake
So I
did.
mean, if they win, if they win one and tie two, they're in the playoff. They are in the playoff. So it did
Yeah,
not, and a lot of it, a lot of the rumors and stuff that people have to understand, those don't come from the coach. Those come from his agent.
yeah,
And his agent, people may or may not remember, but his agent really kind of screwed Mati right after the World Cup when he was airing some
dirty
not,
laundry.
not not to be disseminated information. Some of the inner workings of negotiations, and he kind of brought those. And that's the
Yeah,
kind of stuff that gets you completely blackballed, not just in Liga MX, but and
yeah, yeah. Because they're not gonna trust you that,
right,
and they're gonna think that you're gonna make them look bad, or you
right.
know.
And you know, the message to Mati is, you know, you can always come back to Mexico, but he ain't coming. He ain't gonna be represented. So you know, that's one thing to keep in mind. And so you know, Mati saying, oh, then, and we also have to, you know, bring up the fact that Monterrey, that San Jose said you can have Mati, but then we want 5 of your players. And I'm sitting there thinking, how does that even work?
Yeah.
Because
Honestly, all right. This is what I think happened because I've talked to a lot of San Jose Earthquakes fan and a lot of the ultras, and the team was the worst team in the league last season. They got the wooden
right,
spoon.
they were terrible. Yeah,
So it's
terrible.
like you can't go anywhere but up. So I think like they caught lightning in a bottle like in the month of May and they did really good. But then they and then like the fans really criticized Matias for the signings that he brought. He brought Carlos Fierro, and he's getting paid like a lot of money, 600,000 is his salary. Not a lot of players on that team make that much. And then he also brought in another player, Rios, and those were his guys. And they didn't perform well. So a lot of the fans started to kind of like, and then he has a big mouth and he got suspended a few times, and I think like the ultras are definitely torn between the fact that like they like him and everything, but he hasn't done a press conference in English, and he hasn't really made an effort to like learn the language, and they kind of feel like this is kind of just like a temporary thing. So I'm not surprised that he waited until this whole Rayalos thing to like say, oh no, I said no. It kind of felt like Rayalos said no, and then he's like, I didn't dump them, they dumped me. And then that's just how it feels like. It's like I didn't quit, or you didn't fire me. I quit. It's that sort of like mentality where he wants to like make himself look good. Um, but yeah, it's just
That's exactly what I've
super
been.
interesting.
That's exactly what I've been saying for the longest time. It's all about making yourself promotable, making yourself look good, so that you can make that jump. The JCO didn't get it to happen for him, and Matias, thought with all those trophies and the goat over his shoulder, he could gain the love of the fans and the praise of all of Mexico in Chivas, and then he would jump to like a national team or Mexican national team or some other place. But he ends up going to, I think, a step down. Well, definitely a step down in San Jose, and then not doing much, even though he's improving, like from the worst ever to like mediocre. Like that.
Mm,
That's what it is. So you're mediocre. You're not
yeah,
getting
and
a trophy. You're not
I
qualifying for playoffs.
yeah.
But how dare you talk negatively about somebody's
Well,
baby?
I want to touch on something really quick that John mentioned, and it was about Mati not just struggling at home, and it's been something that he's been dealing with since he was since he was in Argentina in the first division, because he was with River Plate and Banfield. But I got a juicy quote from the national team director Tata Martino, and it's an old interview, but it's in regards to Mati. So I'm gonna read it, and it's in Spanish. So here it
I
goes.
don't understand Spanish, man.
Yo veía, excuse me,
Nothing. Go ahead.
brush it off. A mí me deseo, chiquis.
Okay.
Don't forget. Here goes. Yo veía a Banfield el otro día. Como todo depende tanto del resultado, me da mucha pena que Banfield no gane, pero me da mucho gusto verlo jugar. So that was Tata Martino in regards to Matias when he was coaching Banfield. And he was saying that it was one of the teams that there was this consensus that Matias a coach and how he was an exciting coach to watch the way his team played. It's very exciting, and so Tata saying, but the results aren't there. And that's kind of what happened with San Jose as well. They became better team to watch, the results just weren't there. They started really bad, and and like Jaime says, they had about 2 good months, and then they ended up really bad again. So it's the one surprising thing for me that it's like this guy hasn't been doing good for a long time, and there's this high trust. I've never seen it. It's pretty fascinating. It's like he's had like 3 bad seasons, and everyone's still like he's the key to
I'm,
the
tell I'm
team's
telling you,
success.
Joel, he's the Red Witch. He he's demon, and he's changed the sigil, and he's got everybody under a spell, and I boil it down to really really. So he looks at his blue eyes. Give Matthew this amazing power and control over a huge swath of the Chivas nation, and he hasn't been their coach for what now 2 years, and people still think that he's like the greatest coach in Chivas history, which is hilarious. If you want to throw names, or Tuca won their first title in what 18 years. Oh
Yeah,
no, it was
give or take.
just 11. It was just 11. Just 11 years.
It
Yeah, just
feels
11.
Yeah, and then
Just
they
11.
it feels like 18 though,
Yeah.
John.
but then they
So
lost to Necaxa the next year, and that was unacceptable.
yeah, because Chivas makes so many finals.
And
It was all those mediocre cups that impressed everybody. I think he even posed himself with in pictures with all the cups that he got in Chivas, and they just fell in love. Plus his looks and his locks, and they fell in love with him.
I
And
mean, he
and
brought
fell
us
in love with
silverware.
they fell
Whether you know,
they fell in love with his mediocrity.
he,
He did win a league once,
No,
so
no.
he
We'll
got us
see.
to a
Come
Club
on
World
now,
Cup, man. He got us to a
Kiki's
Club
now.
World Cup.
Now
You
you
gotta give
got
him
me.
a little bit of credit for that.
Yeah. Well, now you got me defending Mati. No, I think his attitude was the correct one. Where, I mean, yeah, you're calling it mediocre. I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go that low, I should say, to categorize some of these tournaments. At the end of the day, we're gonna have to credit Mati with Copa MX has become, even if people don't admit it, that more exciting. Like Chivas got made fun of when they were celebrating it, and then you saw the other teams win it, and their fans went just as crazy. And Chivas got that doblete, and now you see other clubs talking about, we want that, we're going for that doblete, which I don't think they've been able to do. I
You
mean,
know,
but
Mati's a good coach, but not a great coach.
yeah,
He did well. He helped Chivas out, but at the end of the day, his home record is terrible, and it it was one of the reasons for his ouster at Chivas. It did not go well for him in San Jose, although it went better than it was for San Jose last year. For the amount of money and the amount of pomp and circumstance that they brought him in, it was not a successful year for Matias. I mean, now San Jose, like some of the other teams in MLS, they're not the kind of team that's going to go spend crazy amounts of money on designated players. It's just not. So,
yeah,
if he wants to stay there, if he wants to help them, he's got a nifty little project to see if he can be that coach that everyone thinks. But at this time next year, if San Jose is on the outside looking in, then I think that we can go ahead and say that all the luster is off Matt, and he might as well be Ruben Omar.
oh snap. You
damn.
know, I, I'm gonna
Man,
say it though, like a big reason why we don't see bigger teams, like, because there was all that noise, when he was still at Chivas, that he was being, he was in the list for teams in EPL and La Liga, these, and those are leagues that are the long season format, and and again, I'm gonna repeat it. He's just he just hasn't been he hasn't shown to be consistent in long season format, and I so I did my homework. I did my homework to get the proper numbers. So, for example, at River Plate, he had the team on ninth place, and I guess the Mexico fans would be like, well, that's not so bad. That's just really close to Liguilla, but they don't have Liguilla, and if you're River Plate, you have to be at least top three for the majority of the season. So he was in ninth when they let him go, and with Banfield, he finished uh, 12th and I believe 17th. And when yeah, and then what was it with Chivas? He finished what His last season was 17th as well. With San Jose, he finished in what was it, 8th or 7th? But
Eighth.
if you combine the East and West Conference, 15th, 15th place. So I mean, if you're a mid-table team from La Liga or whatnot, those numbers aren't going to be very convincing.
So let me ask this question then. I don't think I think Monterrey was too big of a team for him. I don't think he
No,
I don't think Monterrey. I think
I,
Matias wanted to go to Monterrey or anywhere else other than San Jose because that would have been a jump up. But I'm not
yeah,
convinced. I'm not convinced Monterrey really was willing to give as much for him, or really was
no, I
desperate.
do, I think he would have done really good at Monterrey.
Yeah, but
I think his style
did they
of
want him enough? I don't think they wanted him enough. They weren't like, oh, we need this guy. I think Turco is even a better, or even Vucetic would have been a lot better option than Matias. I think I think Almeida
well,
wanted
they've
to
been
go.
more consistent. They've been more consistent because Mati had like a good 2 year period, and that's where he got the majority of his wins at Chivas. You know, and these guys, uh, for the longer part of their careers, they've been more consistent. Perhaps Turco hasn't won as much, but he would be fighting for those top puestos when he said at Monterrey. He'll have the team in the top.
Yeah, that's a good point what John made about him. I guess his teams play pretty, but don't necessarily get the results.
Yeah, that was Tata too. He, Tata
Well,
and John agreeing on the same.
all right, so that was a pretty long little
Yeah, we
thing on
went
Mati.
Man, you
more
guys are
on
obsessed with Mati. No, I'm just kidding.
who isn't Jaime.
We're obsessed in the negative. Some people are obsessed in the positive. So Jaime, I guess you wanted to make a quick little reveal on or a statement on JJ Mack.
Yeah. So, Borussia Dortmund, they kind of have like an uh all access sort of documentary season that they're doing exclusively through Amazon Prime. And in one of the episodes, they cut to a Liga MX game, and it's Leon,
Oh,
and I think they're playing against Pumas, and the guy says, "All right, it's time to open up the coffers," and they cut to JJ Mack because he scored a goal. So apparently they've been monitoring his activity, and uh, from what it sounds like, they're gonna cash in for him. I mean, that's what they did in the documentary, which I thought was kind of random to see that. But that's the latest rumor.
When was that released? That documentary.
Huh?
When was that
he
documentary?
saw it, chiquis.
I know. When
Huh,
was it? When was
huh.
it? When was it released? Like when was it
Oh,
filmed and released?
Oh, it like just came out. Yeah, it's
Mm.
like a new thing on Amazon Prime.
So it's pretty
Because they
nice.
did it
recent.
with Manchester City, where it was like all in. I think it's called All In, but I guess Dortmund is on the action now too.
Yeah.
And my only question is, because you got to keep in mind, Leon has this guy on loan. He's still Chivas property, obviously with the option to buy him. But I made this analogy before. It's like me borrowing your car. Hey Ben, can I borrow your car? For a couple months, and then the next thing you see me is me at the dealership trading it in for like a SUV. It's like, yo, that wasn't yours to trade, man. I thought I was gonna let you borrow this.
Well, there you go. We'll have to see. I think last time we talked about Macias was I mentioned that I think he needed to stay a little bit longer and do a little bit
I'm
more.
sorry.
I think the last time we
Chiquis,
talked about.
can you hear John?
Oh,
No,
sorry.
he's
No, I
cutting
can't.
in and out.
Because I think you've talked over him twice now.
Oh,
Yeah, he's been cutting in and out, so we haven't been able to hear him that well.
He's he was driving away from a tornado, dodging an F5.
like that movie Twister back in the day.
he's chasing him. I
Ah,
don't think
yes. He has the finger of God.
So,
Yeah, Twister.
Chiquis, you're saying that he's not ready to leave?
I just I think he could be. I wouldn't object. But
No, yeah,
I
he's
th-
more than ready. He's more than ready. I just think Grupo Pachuca, going off of Jaime, why Grupo Pachuca wants to do the trade, and I think it is just they just want to look good, like they want to become the club that it's sending all these players abroad. I think recently America has stolen that thunder from them, especially with Jimenez doing so good. But yeah, cause to me it doesn't make that much sense. Like we're gonna buy him, but then we're willing to sell him to Dortmund for cheaper and all this, and I'm like, that's
It's
just
just really interesting because
yeah,
knowing Grupo Pachuca, they're gonna throw in some players at Chivas. They're
yes.
trying to just because I don't think they can afford paying Chivas. Was it 15
You
million? I think his
you
new
know what?
buyout.
I think they can, but I don't know if I was telling Chiquis about this. Chiquis, refresh my memory, but they don't want to be they don't want to become that club where it's like once you pay so much for a player, then it's gonna become expected, you know. So the Group Pachuca is like sort of like these Portuguese clubs where they buy cheap, sell high, and I don't think they're gonna want to do that. Where it's like the other clubs are gonna see that, oh, you were willing to pay this much, so if they ever find another talent, it's
Yeah,
not gonna go for cheap. And so I don't think they want to set that precedent. I think they want so yeah, they're gonna offer all these players, you know.
yeah. I mean, luckily for Chivas, we have the goal scoring squad isn't. I mean, it's pretty crowded at the moment. Pulido, he's actually the leading Mexican right now for most goals, which is nice to see. Obviously, four of them have been from penalty, but I believe he has seven pepinos. He's only one or two away from the top goal scorer. And then we'll get Saldivar back at the end of the season. So it's not like we
Oh,
need JJ Mack, but it would suck to see him get dealt like that, and then we end up getting a bunch of players, and then not enough money to kind of just
yeah, I
reinforce the
don't think
squad.
yeah, I don't think Chivas is gonna do that. I think unless it's a really good player and money, I don't think they're gonna take that. Like that like
Yeah, because
5 petardos and some money.
I heard it was gonna be Eric Aguirre was gonna be traded plus like 5 million.
Yeah,
So I don't
yeah,
know.
that's one of the rumors. But I mean,
Well, the thing
Chivas
is,
doesn't have to take the deal.
If Dortmund really does make an offer,
Yeah,
I
they
mean, the
don't
offer
need.
would be to Chivas, right?
Yeah,
And they would probably pay I mean, they would
The
easily pay
15.
$15 million for
yeah,
JJ Mack, and frankly, the Bundesliga is an outstanding league for him to go play in because it's
I
so
agree.
offensive, and it's so entertaining, and it's so aside from the top one team, or I guess in this case two teams, it's a very balanced league, so it's going to
Yeah.
be a very competitive move for him, and if he can play well at Dortmund, I mean that is a great place to to,
and
to, to do
Yeah.
well.
you know what
And
else, John? Despite the language barrier, Mexican players that have gone there have done well.
Real
Pretty much
Osorio,
almost all of
They have,
them that have
Abel
gone.
Pardo,
Yes,
Mata,
Chicharo.
Chicharito.
That's right. Massa was
even
there.
Um.
and one of the big advantages that the Blue has that the other leagues don't have is that they take
Oh yeah.
and I think it's one of the reasons why the league is so much more entertaining because even toward the end of the season the players are a little
Yeah.
if I were a young player and they're not offering the super duper clubs but they're offering me the Bundesliga, I mean I'd jump at the chance to play in the
Yeah. And not
I
only
like the
that, but
Bundesliga.
they've
I enjoy the Bundesliga. It's fun to watch.
The thing about Bundesliga, and they just opened up their arms to, like, Mexican players. Like, even Leverkusen still tweets at Chicharito from time to time. They like miss him, and they just fell in love with all the fans that embrace the team. And I think like Dortmund sees the value and the appeal. What a huge market to tap into. Mexicans, and I think they saw what Pulisic did for their brand, and I think getting a Mexican player would catapult them and put them on the map.
I remember the days of Pardo and Massa.
I mean, look at Linus. Linus is on the bench and he's not even getting any action. But I think I think this would be a different scenario because JJ Mack is he's definitely not flopping. They seem serious about the project.
All right, man. Well, he did impress during the Mexican national team game against Trinidad, so that he's a good kid. So hopefully he'll do well.
He did or he didn't impress.
He did impress.
Yeah, and I think he's going to start tomorrow against Bermuda.
Speaking of Bermuda,
yeah, you want to let's touch on this real quick
and against Panama a few days later. So he definitely has.
we should talk about the League of Nations.
Nations League,
League of
CONCACAF.
Nations. What's going on with that, Jaime?
Well, I don't know if you guys caught that interview by Jurgen Klinsmann. Did you guys watch that?
You know what,
Man.
Jaime? We were gonna bring that up last podcast, and Chiquis forgot,
I thought we
and
did
that
bring it
made
up.
me forget too. No, we didn't.
Oh,
but
I brought it
they
up.
asked him. Oh, you did?
Oh no, we didn't. I brought it up somewhere else.
Somewhere else, not at the pod. I'm sorry, Jaime. Keep going.
Well, they straight up point blank asked him, how do you feel about the League of Nations? And as the guy like says League of Nations, Jurgen Klinsmann just starts laughing. He's like, "Oh, it's a waste of time," and I agree with him. He said it's a waste of time, and if you want to get better, you got to play, teams above you. That's the only way you get better.
Well, here's the thing: who are they going to play?
Yeah.
Because every other country right now are fires, so that there's no one to play.
Yeah.
And the reality is if they weren't playing League of Nations right now, they'd be playing the World Cup qualifying campaign for 2018 started this month in 2015. 3 years. I don't necessarily mind. I mean, I agree. Obviously, you want to play,
right?
But
it's just terrible.
We're destined for stagnation. Then that's what you're saying. If there's no one else to play, if we can't play with the bigger teams, then we're destined to stay at the level we are at for years
I think it's
to come.
great that Jurgen says this. Even Tata.
Yeah.
Tata said the same. Yep.
Coming up in 2020. So what Mexico be the sparring partner for England and for Spain and for everybody. Go take your lumps and play with your full team, and then there's not they're gonna have an Olympics and this and that, but the League of Nations, to me, I would much rather. I mean, this is going to be a chance for Tata.
Yeah, the U23 looks really good. They brought up players like Jurado, the goalkeeper from Veracruz. They brought up
that aren't going to be as high pressure as World Cup qualifiers. I mean, you don't have that he could be in the Big Cup final in 2007, and think of who took the field in 2010. How many players were the same? There was like 2 players that were the same.
Sorry, John, we couldn't hear half of your rant. It was cutting in and out, but it sounded good.
Well, trust me, it was
sounded good. You ended
amazing.
very, very good on a strong point.
No, well, what I said was in 2000. Think of the Gold Cup team that Hugo had in the final in 2007, and then think of the team that took the field in Johannesburg in 2010, and name me the player. I think there was one, Gerardo Torrado, and that's it, and Rafa. Everyone else played their way into the thing, and Vasco had a Gold Cup to help him. The League of Nations is going to help Tata put his team
I
together
get it. Yeah.
because the Layuns and the Morenos and all those guys are not going to be there. They're just not going to be there. They're not going to be strong enough. They're going to be too old. So having these games is going to help. Who ultimately is going to be on his team. Mexico's in the hex. They are in the hexagon. You don't have to worry
Right.
about dropping 50 spots in the FIFA World
Yeah.
Cup ranking. Just
Yeah.
not going to happen.
And
so use the League of Nations to see.
and the other thing is with there's no talk of lack of competitive games, but the top players do have it. The top, maybe not at national level, but they do have it at club level. So if you have a Chicharo, it doesn't matter if in Selección he's playing the Bermudas and the Puerto Ricos. He's played the best already. It doesn't matter, you know. So there's a core group already that got a couple World Cups under their belt, and they play pretty much.
Yeah.
I can get that justification. Um, I would like the national team as a whole together to play top clubs and not just depend on, oh, Chicharito plays top competition, in his
Oh,
club.
the core group plays it, not just
Well, the core
Chicharo.
group. I
They
mean, but they're
do play
separate though.
like
They're playing separate teams. I'm talking about as a core group all together on the national team playing top
yeah,
competition,
but all
so
those
they can.
guys been together for years
Yeah, but they
now.
don't play together for years. They play like what a few times every. In a tournament they'll play a lot, but they don't play week in and week out together.
Right.
The other thing that I don't like at all, and I forget his name. He's an English guy who played for Trinidad and Tobago. He was on like Fox, and he was giving the same justification that I hear a lot about this cup, in that Mexico and the U.S. need to help these lower nations, these Central American nations,
Mhm.
grow. And I don't think that's just ridiculous. It's like they're treating it like a charity league. Like, we need to help you guys out so you can raise your level of competition, and then you can help us because we'll all be together. And that's not the way
Yeah,
you
that's
do things,
bullshit.
man. You don't help your opponent so that they can
Were
be
you
better.
guys rooting for Costa Rica in the World Cup when they made it to the quarterfinals? I wasn't. It's every man for themselves.
Yeah, it's like, and then they're talking about
But
even financially, like help these Central American teams financially with their infrastructure. CONCACAF needs to help them out financially so that they can be better competition. And of course, that guy played for Trinidad and Tobago, so he's totally biased. But
right.
yeah, that's just ridiculous. But I do get your guys' point on, or John's point as well. Is like what it does have
Yeah.
value for these younger guys to get some time in and to put on the national team
Yeah, I'm
jersey.
excited. Tomorrow you're gonna have JJ Mack. You're gonna have Antuna, who just extended his contract with Man City for another 2 seasons or 2 years, I mean. So you're gonna have, you're gonna have some young players and some experienced players all mixed in tomorrow, and I look forward to the lineup and see who's actually gonna start.
There was some little bit of drama though today, and this is
Oh yeah,
the
what's the chisme?
apparently, like, at the hotel, the bus for the national team arrived, and there was two fans with like flags, and they were just yelling Mexico, Mexico, and the players just got off and just didn't even or totally ignored them. Well,
What if
Oh.
he had to go to the bathroom, Chiquis? What if he ate
he is in
like
all of them though.
what?
All of them just got off the bus and went immediately inside and didn't even pay attention
But
or
then
say
it
hi.
just two. This guy could have eaten,
But all of them, dude, not one dude, not one guy, all of them, the whole team.
they probably had
They had chorrito.
something on the airplane, man. They
They
could
had
And
have
then you
had,
got players flying in from Spain, you got players coming in from
any
Italy, from,
Anyway,
all over the world,
what my point
like
is
it's
though, what my point is that everyone made a big mess about it online, and
oh,
and then even Hector Herrera in an interview or in a press conference, um, sort of tried to explain himself. Like, they did get to later on were able to talk with him, take pictures with the guys and everything, and but the press and everyone and social media, he was complaining, is so critical about every little thing that they do wrong. If you could take something out
yeah,
of context and then you just go off on these guys, and he was just complaining about it. And I get it. Twitter is like, uh, You know,
Yeah.
like a cesspool. Social media is a cesspool of all this
Well,
negativity.
also
Speaking of out
wasn't
of
it two
context,
women?
like
Wait, wait,
that
Jaime,
feminine.
just
Go
well,
ahead.
just really quick. Wasn't it two girls that were waiting outside?
No, it's a guy and a girl, I think. Well, it might have been two.
See, well, we could, yeah, because that's the one I saw. It was two females, and so they just had the whole thing with the previous females. They were like, hey, they flew these girls into the hotel. So these guys are like, oh hell no, you know, I'm not I'm not getting caught up in this anymore. I, don't try to slide in my DMs, and then
Yeah,
you're gonna sell them to TV Notas. So yeah, I would do the same, Chiquis.
yeah.
If you're some 20-year-old girl right there,
I
I'm
mean,
not stopping for you.
Would you also do the hover
y-
hand? Would you do like instead of that guy from Monterrey, you do the hover hand when you
yeah.
take a picture?
Yeah,
So
overhand, man.
that's that's another one of those things that was kind of out of context because there wasn't really any video footage of the groping, and sometimes when you're like posing for a photo, you don't know where your hands are. I'm not trying to defend the guy, but it could have just been one of those wrong place at the wrong time type
He
of
was, yeah, he
moments.
was, he was at that position, and if he took his family, because this guy came out to say. So wait, really quick, we're talking now about there was a friendly between Tigres
Uh,
Femenil and the Dash.
Dallas
Was it?
Houston,
Dash,
Houston,
Dallas Dash or something.
Houston Dash.
Houston
Houston Dash.
Dash. And then so after the game, one of the players posed with the fans, but the fans were like on the stands, and this one guy like kind of like he put his hand on the side, and it's like he was touching her side boob, and so she went out and tweeted about feeling that he groped her
Wait, wait,
and
wait,
all that.
wait. She did.
Wait, did she tweet?
She did. She
I don't
didn't
think
tweet.
she tweeted.
Tigres.
No,
I saw
everybody
one
saw
of
the
her.
photo.
No,
No,
I saw a tweet from her.
no.
Really?
Let me check. I don't think I've seen any tweet from her.
She
I did.
I
I
haven't seen a
saw
tweet
that
from
one.
her either. It was just really like a photo that just floated in the on the internet, and then everybody reacted to it like this is unacceptable, and this is we shouldn't be subject to and then immediately Tigres like apologize, and
No, Tigre.
they're
Well,
on the
yeah.
manhunt for this
Well,
guy.
they doxed the guy because they posted his picture online, and then
Yeah.
so this guy came out recently and he said, I'm getting death threats. Like I went to the game with my kids, and they're getting harassed on Facebook and whatnot, and it's like, oh man, who do you believe? And I was
Well,
just,
yeah.
I hadn't commented because I'm like you. I would have liked to seen the video because a picture we
It's
could
so
interpret in
out
many
of
ways.
context.
Yeah,
And
you
the
could
thing
see.
is, it's like you like all right, because like in the photo she's smiling and stuff, and like you don't see like what happened after. Like you don't see if she like turn around and like try to slap him or like
Yeah,
what I
did
mean.
she make
It
stink
kind of looked
face?
like it kind of looked like I don't know, like it was kind of like an accident. Like it didn't look like he was actually trying to like grab her boob and like get some feels.
He
It kind
said
of just looks like one of those like
he
freak things that happen. Kind of like
he said it
I
was
don't
an
know.
accident.
Yeah.
He well, like this is my take, and he said it was an accident on an interview in Monterrey. The only, this is like, and I don't totally, I don't know what happened, but this is what I can sort of see. He was on a higher level. He was in the stands, and she was down below in the field. So normally,
Mhm.
if they were on the same level, and you take a picture with someone, you would like
Yeah.
grab it, would put your arm around them and maybe grab them by the waist. But since he was higher,
Mhm.
his level for the waist is actually a little bit higher. Now he brought his kids, like Joel said, to the game to watch the game and everything, and wanted a picture. He's either it was either on accident and he's sincere, or he is like the total creeper, weirdo dude, man. That's all.
Yeah,
That's
it's
all. I
like
mean, you can't really
yeah.
tell with these. I mean, I tend to be naive and give people the benefit of the doubt, so I sort of think it was an accident. But you never know, man.
You don't know. But like for me, like yesterday at the game, I took like 3,000 photos and I caught some weird, like when you're playing and you're warming up, you really don't really pay attention to like you're not, thinking about, oh, someone's going to capture this. Like I have like 5 or 6 like series of photos. Alanis just going like index finger all the way in the nose, picking his boogers and stuff. It's just like, you know what I mean? Like I have legit like 5 or 6 photos of him just dig. It looks like he's trying to dig for some gold, man. And it's just like when there's no context, it kind of it just you just put that out there, no caption. It's just like, whoa, what the hell is he doing? You know? And
Yeah.
there's a lot of photos that I took from yesterday, and I'm just like, just things that like I have a photo of Fernando Tena, and if you guys didn't have any context, you would have thought he was trying to spit on somebody, but he was chewing gum and I think he was just spitting it out, and it kind of looked. I just caught it at the right time where he's just like ready to spit something out, but it's just those things that you capture on camera,
Yeah. The thing, and we
and
didn't
then
talk about it yet, but the thing with this also is Tigres on that tweet. They're actually gonna. I think they're suing the guy. They're trying to find out who the guy is so that they can sue him and they could ban him from the stadium forever.
No, they did find who it was. They're the ones that doxed him.
Well,
He's gonna he could sue them now.
well, no, that was
He
the
could
tweet.
sue.
That was the initial tweet from Tigres before he came out and everything. They were
yeah, it
looking
was like
for
an
him. So
apology, and
yeah.
they're like, we're gonna ban him, and
So I don't know if he's gonna be banned or what, but they were looking for him.
oh, he's for
that.
sure banned.
No, man, Jaime. If he was there with his kids, look. If you're a single dude, you're pretty much guilty until proven innocent.
Even with
But
kids,
if
dude.
he's there
I mean,
with
but
kids and they're getting death threats. That changes the game right there, Chiggies. He took his little ones, and if there's other people there that could collaborate
Oh yeah.
or testify to like what kind of person he is, because hey, I'm not doubting he put his hand there, but there's the intention that's in question now. Was he trying to cop a feel? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or was it just accidental? That becomes a whole thing. But regardless, Tigres shouldn't have doxed him. It should have first you figure out what really happened,
yeah,
then you throw him to the wolves. But they did it
right.
opposite, you know.
Yeah.
And so I do think Tigres is gonna he's gonna be watching Felino games from a palco at least to the end of the season. They're gonna with this bucket of michelada with shrimps. Um,
That's crazy.
So, but yeah, I agree. Like the social media can be toxic. It's like I don't understand why we can't just support the team. I don't know why the
Well,
Mexican press always has to make everything so controversial, and it's like, why can't we just back our team? You know?
I get it, and a lot of people do back the team, but there's room for criticism, and that's something that players need to sort of get used to, because it's not just Mexico, it's other countries, and that's just the way of life. You just got to get over it, like not deal with it. I remember, well, I saw it yesterday, so the Maradona documentary is fresh in my mind. He couldn't even go to the mall or do anything in Napoli when he was playing there. It was like he was just like
Oh yeah,
stuck. He was just stuck and he couldn't do anything. He had to leave out of he wanted out of there, out of that place. So it's
yeah.
it's like crazy, man, and it's just something you got to deal with when you're in those situations. And
Well,
sometimes you see people like
yeah.
Chicharito, they can't handle they can handle it, but they complain and they whine about it, which it's fine also if they want to do that, that's okay
Yeah.
as well.
Speaking about criticism, it's like I think for the last what the on decision day in the MLS where Carlos Vela scored a hat trick to break some records, and I mean it was like people were like, oh, this is such a great achievement for him, and then you get other people saying, well, like, well, that's cool and all, but like, you know what I mean, he's not playing
but
for
it's
Mexico
MLS.
anymore. And yeah, but it's MLS. And then you have I think Fikison, he said something about like he was criticizing Vela, and then it's just like, yo, who are we to judge on like him just being happy? You know what I mean? Like,
Well, we don't see Faitelson going to Spain and trying to like make it there, and he's like, I'm going to, even if it's a radio show at 2 a.m. I'm gonna take that job just so I could break into that market. He came here to the U.S. and he's working comfy job with ESPN. So he's doing the exact same thing. Like you know, what is
No,
he's getting criticized, but
that's not the same, dude.
what? How is it not the same?
That's the elite
He's
level, dude.
covering this league.
I know.
He's
He's
not covering La Liga. He's not covering EPL. He didn't go, and this to credit of JCO. He went and he set up orange cones at
but
Man City or
he
whatnot,
he is
so he could be there. Huh?
he's at the top. He's at the top sports channel sports company in the world, man. ESPN, and he's
Yeah, but
working
he's
and
covering Mexican soccer.
he's
The one
working
he
at he goes
criticizes.
to the World Cup though. He goes to the World Cup. He covers international soccer. I'm sure he covers when ESP
Yeah, well, that's easy. That's
when
saying Bella gets to the playoffs. If why wouldn't you want to
it's
cover
it's sort of
Champions League or cover the top like the English Premier League? I mean, like, okay, I want to be and I'm pretty sure they're probably the biggest paid if you're, one of the panelists for
yeah.
some EPL.
It's not a very good equivalent though, man. In my opinion, what I would just say on this whole thing that Faitelson, you can hate on Faitelson, but and you can say that Vela getting his happiness is fine and that's okay, but there is room for criticism in saying he has lost potential. Vela could have been
Oh
so
yeah.
much more, and there's nothing wrong with saying that. There's
Oh yeah.
nothing wrong with Faitelson hating like with what he did, but there's nothing wrong also saying, well, if Vela wants to do what he wants to do, then that's okay. Like watching Maradona, I was watching that thing and I was like, that dude wasted himself. I mean, he was lucky he got titles at Napoli, he got the World Cup, but he wasted I think a lot of his playing years because of drugs. He would take drugs during the week and like on Wednesday start recovering to play game on Sunday. So he had to work extra to be great around his drug addiction. So I mean, you can say there's a lot of
That's
waste.
crazy.
There's a waste in Maradona, but it's like blown by because he won so many titles. With Vela, he didn't have that, and so it's really easy to pick on him and say, it's been a waste, sort of, for him to leave the national team and decide, take
It's
the
not
coach's
a
decision.
waste, Chiquis. Your end game is to have a comfy
No,
life,
yeah, for him,
not just a playing life, but like a regular
but
life.
the end game for
His
the
life
national
is
team.
awesome, dude.
But look, the end,
He
and
gets what he gets to do
I
everything
mean,
he
that
loves,
that's I know
man.
that's his goal though. That's his end game. But I'm not talking about his
yeah,
end
that's
game.
that's
Where I'm talking about the national team, the end game for Mexico as a country is to be the best national team in the world and to get as far as you can in the World Cup, and to call the best players. It's not the players' job to call themselves up. It's the coach's job. And if the coach, who has obviously said Vela is one of the best players, that's the coach's job. That's the national team's position. And you can't just say, well, I'm taking myself out of it because I think other players should have a chance. No, you're the best player right now. Put those
yeah.
other players to the side, man.
We
You
need
come
you now, bro.
and when you do that, you're just losing, the national team could be better with you and you're deciding to make the national team less. And that's a totally different conversation than his happiness and his goals or whatever he wants to do because it's two different
He
perspectives.
doesn't know anything to the national team, Chiquis.
I know he doesn't know
He
owe
doesn't.
anything.
That's correct.
My biggest thing is though, it's like the choices that he makes. Like the he has like he shows that he's ambitious. He shows that he's actually hungry, but it's just channeled like the wrong way. Like he's so enthusiastic about being the best player, but in the MLS and like winning titles, but for LAFC and being the captain, but for LAFC. It's like why don't you have this same thrill and ambition and joy to do this for your own country? And that's the part where like what did we do to you? What did was it because you got him and Efrain Suarez got suspended? Is that what it all came down to? Is like the way they got done dirty like long time ago? I don't know what it is, but it just really irritates me that he's never really explained. And I don't, he doesn't have to, but it would just be nice to know why. Like, what did we do to him, for him to be this way?
It was yeah, it was long pants guys from that party, I believe. But anyway, you want to talk the Liga?
Good for him.
You want to move on? Let's move on to the Liga MX. That's, I guess, our last big topic. Real quick, previewing, or not previewing, reviewing the previous week's play. I guess the main thing from last weekend was the scandal going on Cruz Azul America. Cruz Azul gets a huge win, and I guess we're talking to Joel about Joel picked Cruz Azul to do well and actually take the league this season, and they're on a comeback, I
Did.
guess. They beat America in the Clásico Joven 5-2. There was some controversy with Piojo after the game. He had some unkind words for the ref that caused a bunch of beefs.
Colorful words.
Yeah, and apparently suspension for him. So he'll be in trouble for a bit. He had an apology. But I guess what is your guys' take from? I guess that was the main thing over the weekend.
Well, first, really quick on Siboldi, he had not been doing good in league because Santos, that Santos record was weighing him down. So just in league, he had about 16 games where he hadn't won. Of course, we're adding his stint at Veracruz, and that just hurt his image because when he won the league with Santos, man, it was done in good fashion. He pretty much outcoached everyone going into playoffs and in playoffs. He pretty much beat everyone. Uh, and so the Veracruz, all of a sudden, people think he sucks. But I just, it's hard to coach a team where the players aren't getting paid, which is, they're saying that's still a problem right now at
And
Veracruz with players. I think they can't even afford to pay rent. Some of them had to move out. And so FMF is trying to do something about it. And there's talk that TV Azteca might buy the team. We'll see what's going
oh
on with
wow.
that. But I sustain Siboldi is, and we talked about this a lot with John, going back when he was at Santos. We feel that he's going to be one coach to look out for, and I think to do that what he did with Cruz Azul, given their circumstances, that's huge. That's huge already right there, man. And it was a big win for them. But was it 5-2? The score?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a big win. So I do think when you look at Cruz Azul, what was their biggest hurdle? And it's always been America, especially after that one final, that epic final where the goalie went and
Moises Munoz.
scored that goal. That one it just got him right in the fields. But I think this is a big turning point for them, and I see them doing well. I do see them going into Liguilla, and I think and I'm sticking to my guns on Paul Fernandez. I was questioning whether maybe the directiva didn't want him, but he did get to play against America, and I finally figured out he had like an injury, so that's why he hadn't been playing. I still think that guy, you just gotta get him ready for Liguilla, and then set him loose.
Yeah, he's got skill. So yeah, their next game is with Morelia, which should be pretty feasible, and that's at home. Uh, Cruz Azul has some other tougher games after that with Tigres, León, Santos, and then finally with Atlético San Luis, which
Did
they
you want to talk about Piojo's colorful words, or
What did he
was
say?
he
yeah
said two words?
he said
So
yeah, go ahead.
wait, context. So Liga MX for the past 2 weeks they want to eradicate the corner kick
Goal,
puto chant,
the goal kick chant.
and they've been doing different clubs have been doing different things. So they play stuff to drown out the chant. I think Morelia had little kids, put him on the different sections, and they would like give yellow card yellow cards to that section where they would. So yeah, they're coming down hard, and eventually they want to start kicking people out of the stadium, and or if it's heard, uh, you're gonna play in an empty stadium, and and so they're working hard on that. And after the match, Piojo's storming off and he's mad, and the press wants to get a word, and he said, ask el puto árbitro, and I think he called the reporters maricones. So he yeah, he said both.
He
He
did?
said both.
I didn't hear
Yeah, he did say he said.
that.
so
What the?
so that was the whole thing. You have the league trying to eradicate this, and then you get Piojo coming in, and he just sort of makes it makes it start trending again. Um, and so that's why he's getting suspended now for 3 games. And there was like a big meeting, and he had to apologize, which he did. Which I heard in one of the shows, and I can't remember which one, but they were talking about how they wanted him to apologize when he swung at Martinoli, but he refused because Martinoli had attacked his daughter La Pioja on national TV.
Yeah, I don't remember him apologizing for that.
Yeah, I don't think he did. I think he refused. But this a different Piojo, you know.
Yeah, he's been always controversial with the media, and
He was just mad
yeah.
though. He was upset because of the ref's decision. I think he red card or something. I forget exactly what the thing was, but
What's up with these red cards, though, man? I feel like the league is just giving them out like hotcakes. Like Veracruz had a red card in their game. America had a red card. Tijuana had I think they were down to 8 men, if I'm not mistaken. They lost 3 players, and Atlas ended up tying the game last minute. Chivas had 2 red cards as well. So what's up, man? Why are they giving out these like like Oprah's giving out cars?
I think
I don't know. I don't know.
I think they've been deserved a little bit. I haven't heard too many complaints about the overreaction or bad refereeing. Um, but yeah, that just upset Piojo, and he got all crazy. Um, just another day. I think though, and I don't remember. I was trying looking for the link. Piojo was on. This was maybe a year or less ago. He was on a TV show with a bunch of people, and some of them were gay dudes, and they were discussing the chant and the word. And some of them were saying, "Well, I'm not
You were
offended."
watching a gay show and they were
No, it
discussing
was,
the Liga MX chant.
dude.
I think he's
It was like it was like a morning show, like Good Morning America show with where they're sitting on the couch and everything, and there's like a couple of girls and like 4 guys, and then Piojo was it's on YouTube somewhere. I just can't find it. And they were discussing it, and he was saying he doesn't think it's homophobic. He doesn't see anything wrong with it. It's just an insult to the goalkeeper. And people were saying, well, the gay dudes were saying that they didn't see anything wrong with it either, but they were saying that people do get offended by it, and people do think it's something against them, and that makes it homophobic.
Mm.
And so he sort of did understand it, but I don't think he really believes it. So inside, I don't think he's down with the whole, that it's homophobic. He's one of those guys you see on Twitter. You see that, as part of the
well,
culture.
for the majority. You know what, Chiquis? I'm willing to bet 99.9% of Mexicans don't use it
Oh yeah, for sure.
as a homophobic chant.
But they
Because words change all
it
the time.
it depends on
You,
your
you
definition,
you
though.
saw that jacket? No, but look at that jacket that was going around. It was like a jacket that said "Mexico's the shit,"
Yeah, yeah.
and that's the whole thing now, where it's like people, if you hear that, you know what it means, that it's meant in a good way, but it's
Mhm.
like really comparing them to fecal matter is
Yeah.
supposed to make me proud of that country. You're comparing to a turd.
I
You know what I
remember those
mean?
jackets. I think
So
Ochoa had one, right?
yeah, a couple seleccionados wore them, And
Yeah.
it's so I mean words the context changes all the time for a lot of words where it's like, that's shit. It used to be like that's not good, but then it's became that's the shit, and all of a sudden that was good. So there's that one meme with what do they say with Grandpa Simpson, and it's like what used to be hip is not hip anymore,
Yeah.
and it's bad, and it's like, and it's gonna happen to you. You do you guys know which one I'm talking about?
Uh, Not really. I know the Grandpa Simpson one.
Uh,
Yeah,
I'm actually
well, basically, what one moment something is cool, the next is not. So that's kind of the thing, and it's a big deal right now. The whole chant, because it became a thing during the, because the chant's been, it has been used since like 2001.
it's been
Nobody
around for a
cared
while.
for like 13 years until the World Cup, and it's because some group, a group heard it in the US TV, and they took offense to it, and they made a big deal about it. And and so why does FMF care? Because this is where they make the most money. They have all these sponsors tied to Selección in the US. Other than that, they wouldn't care. And you know what? I said if they would have never mentioned it, it would have probably gone away. If they wouldn't have made a big deal about it,
Yeah.
people eventually would have found something else. Because there's chants that you don't hear anymore that people used to use way back when. So it would eventually just disappear. But I think because they made such a big deal about it, people were like, it became like, well, you can't say that. And then that just made people want to say it even more.
I
I
think
think
it.
we should go the way the UK does it. I don't know if you guys ever watch like EPL or whatever, but when a player like shoots the ball and it goes like way left or goes over the like it's just like a terrible shot, they all go, "Hey!" It's just like really funny. So I don't know. I think we just gotta change our. It's time to like. I think it should die. I also think what should die with that is the Celito Lindo, man. I think it's time to
Oh, that
change
one,
everything up,
man.
man. I
I
know
don't
it's like
like that one.
I just feel like it's just overdone now. It's like, yo, it's 2019. Let's get better stuff.
Yeah, well, I think that the one, the whole corner kick chant. I think because they made a big deal, then people just thought, okay, then that just became even more funny for them to say it. It's like, oh, you can't say it, and they were like, all right,
Yeah, it
hold my
makes it
beer.
worse. Hmm.
It was gonna take too long. Like if they didn't do anything about it, it was gonna take too long to be eradicated. I don't think it would have. It would
Nah,
have.
you know what? If they
It
would
would.
have been smart and
It would
they
have
would
taken
have reached
years,
out.
man.
Nah, dude, you could write a like look go to the barra bravas to the well, they're not really barra bravas. Go to the cheering groups, to the main ones, and then be like, hey, can you guys chant this instead or whatever?
It's just the
And
regular
then the
fans,
kid,
though, man. It's right, like regular moms
but
and
the
dads that
regular
go and see
fans
it.
are not as noisy as the organized group with the tambores and the whole section. They usually follow that group. So if that group starts doing something else, everyone would follow suit eventually.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, my take was that Piojo. I don't think Piojo was really sincere in his apology. I mean, he might have said
Oh,
it sincerely, but I think deep inside, he's like, man,
No,
forget all this.
of
And
course not, man.
like Mexico, like you said about Mexico, doing it just because FIFA. Even in the press conference that FMF and Bonilla had, they were saying the word itself during the press conference. They weren't saying like the P word or abbreviating it or anything. They were saying the straight up. And Hurt Gomez and a lot of people in the U.S. media were like laughing at how
Like,
ridiculous they were.
jeez.
Like, yeah, you guys are really serious. You're over here saying the word while you're saying you're gonna ban him.
Yeah,
But
you guys are serious about this chant, huh?
anyway, other highlights.
So we got the. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say other highlights from I guess last week going on to this week. Chivas tied. They were almost gonna win
Almost.
against Pumas. Pumas got the tying goal. Sort of similar
You got
to
lucky, man.
yeah, Veracruz was one up on Leon for a while. Thought it was gonna happen, but then
Oh, the game that they were gonna win.
Yeah, Leon came back and tied them, disappointing them. And I guess another one, Tigres blew out Santos 4-0, and Monterrey lost 2-1 to Querétaro. So Querétaro is still flying
Los
high.
Gallos andan bravos, man.
Yeah,
Hey, wait, Chiquis, didn't we talk about this? Was it not?
yeah, we
Did
talked
I
about.
not tell you?
Yeah, you did.
Did I not tell you how Querétaro could make the best out of a down and out Rayados, especially with King Midas at the helm?
That is true.
King Midas.
I did. Es que Chiquis didn't believe me, but yeah, I think Vucetich, he's a really good coach, man. He should not be at, with all due respect to Querétaro, he should not be there. He should be at one of the top teams. Um, he's just one of the best coaches out there. Gets very little love. Got booted from the selección after what 2 games. No
Well, he
respect.
was
No
he was
respect.
interim, right? He wasn't official though, right?
Yeah, it's intro.
No, he was named
Nah, he was
coach.
interim.
No, there was no interim. He was just named coach. There was no
It was.
interim. Like no, dude, come on. You really can't. It was like a panic mode. They put him in there. You really think he wasn't going to be able to beat New Zealand?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Come on.
I can't recall.
So it was just a messed up way for him to get booted. Because,
I guess he wasn't like temporary in the sense that he was expected to continue on as coach. Like if he hadn't lost, he would have been continuing, and Piojo wouldn't have been brought in. So yeah, I guess, and it was done. He was done, Gacho. He was removed very poorly and rudely.
the
So yeah,
one the one that was interim was Tena. So they sacked Chepo, and then Tena had to go play the U.S. and then they lost, and then they brought in Buse, but Buse was brought in as the new coach, and he played 2 games,
He beat
and then
Panama, then they lost to Costa Rica.
did they beat or they tied? Didn't they
No,
tie? Because they were
it was
losing, and then he does a
2-1.
chilena. Oh, they won. Yeah, that was a
2-1.
Jimenez, the epic, one of the most epic goals I've ever seen, man.
That
Where
shit
it's
was
like,
crazy.
yeah, he does a chilena, man. That was goddamn. It was etched in my eyes.
And
But
then they
yeah,
brought in Piojo.
they brought in Piojo where he took Club America to play New Zealand. Um, but I do think that was messed up what they did. But he's a really good coach, man. He's up there. When you talk about the top Liga MX coaches, he's right up there. And if you look right now, and because there's a lot of hate. There's all this talk about recycling or Liga MX coaches aren't that good and whatnot. Um, and I'm gonna have to bring up Mati right now, everyone's favorite Mati, because well, I'm gonna say something because they say like, oh, Mexican coaches that they suck or they don't do anything, but a lot of times they go to Europe, and you could Google for a lot of these articles where like they got sacked or whatever, and they went to Europe to take courses or to watch other teams train. Chepo has done it, Valencia, a lot of Mexican coaches have done that, but there's still this hate of saying of like oh they don't bring nothing new or so I want to see if Mati, because he has 5 months off. Wait, is he gonna go? Is he gonna go to the EPL
Hmm.
and go with
I think he's gonna go to
Pochettino
Argentina.
or what's or he's
He's gonna
or is
be.
he just gonna go to the
He's,
beach?
he's gonna
See,
go on vacation
but I
with
tell
his
you what,
family.
no one's gonna care what he does because he's Mati. He can do whatever he wants. But my thing is like, see, we don't have the same expectations for the same. But right now, if you look at Liga MX, the top teams they're all being coached by Mexicans, which is Necaxa as well. So Necaxa,
Who's
Querétaro,
Necaxa's coach? He's doing a bang up job.
yeah, and Nacho with León. I forget that dude's name. I forget. See, I'm not helping either.
Who?
I,
From
I'm not.
Necaxa?
Yeah, I
I'm
know
looking it
who
up
he
right
is,
now.
but I don't know his
Guillermo
name.
Vasquez.
Yeah, Chiquis should know who that is.
Former Pumas coach.
Chiquis, where are you? See, Chiquis, how could you not know?
He was runner up with like who? Cruz Azul or Pumas?
I don't think he did anything with Pumas.
I just remember Cruz Azul losing like back to back like finals. I don't know if it was under him though.
He was with Cruz Azul for
Well, he
2 years.
as Pumas coach in 2011, and then he won a Copa MX with Cruz Azul,
Oh yeah.
and so that's what he has. But he's been uh, he's been one of Pumas bomberos for a while, where he comes in to help the team. But I mean, he's doing really good. So Vasquez, Nacho, Buse, we got a couple coaches there. Piojo, I know he's getting a lot of hate, but if you see all the stuff that America's been through with losing players and whatnot, they're still up there, man. Uh,
I
so
think
yeah,
the
there's
thing
a
is just we don't see any new blood, you know. I think Jimmy Lozano is a coach. Palencia is a coach. Um, can't really think of any like,
Rafa Puente is in there somewhere.
uh, I actually would love to see um Guardado become a coach future. I don't
well,
know
he's
if
with the
Rafa,
selección right now as
yeah.
pretty
Do
high up there, man.
you think Rafa Marquez would ever coach? Probably not, huh?
No, and he got booted out of Atlas when Grupo Orlegui came in.
Well,
They're
wasn't
like,
he,
we don't want your narco ties right here.
yeah. I think that
And
kind of ruined it.
I sort of like to see Ramoncito Morales, but he's sort of been quiet.
Well, he's
Uh,
working with Univision, no?
oh, really? I didn't know that. I thought he
Yeah.
was like in the youth with the Chivas. I thought he was still.
no, he
Uh,
wasn't on youth with you. No,
He's on Univision now.
okay.
Yeah.
So the games, any games coming up this weekend? There's sort of like last weekend there's a lot of good games. This weekend not so much. Um,
Well, there's gonna be. I mean, they're gonna be on international break, right?
oh wait, hold on a second.
Because I know Chivas are gonna play on Saturday. They told me they're having a friendly in Los Angeles against Leon.
Oh yeah, you're right.
So I don't think they're gonna play.
So no games
I
this
don't think.
weekend.
Yeah, there are no games. Yeah, it's gonna be Bermuda and I don't know.
Panama. So yeah, Bermuda and Panama should be interesting. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much run its courses through the podcast, going through all the highlights. Anything else you guys want to bring up and discuss?
no.
Um, can't really think of anything. Haven't heard any other European rumors. Just the Macias one, Antuna getting a contract extension at Man City. I don't know if he'll ever break into Manchester City. To be honest, kind of seems like another Davila situation, but I mean, good for him. There was a rumor for who's that player from America? Cordova?
Cordova,
Yes,
yeah.
I heard a rumor about him. I think it was it Sevilla or I forgot. Betis? I forgot one of those.
Yeah, I saw that
yeah,
also.
man. I
That's a
don't know what
flavor.
America's feeding their players, but they've been sending a lot.
That's a flavor of the minute.
So
I know, right?
He, he's
what?
he's a good player, and he did score in the Trinidad, but it's against Trinidad, man. And he does play for America, but I
He's
think we need
got
time. We need some time. But maybe I hold back on.
pessimistic.
No, but he's been much longer. He's been on the radar much longer, Chiquis.
Well, he's older than Linus, right? He's 22.
Yeah, probably. Let me check him out. They call
I heard
him.
rumor. All right, so I heard Manchester United was interested. So I think it's just puro humo. You know what I mean?
They call him. Don't they call him Cinnamon? They call him. Yeah,
Do they?
they call him
Yeah,
Canelo.
Canelo.
They call him Canelo. So he.
Cinnamon sounds like a stripper name.
Ooh.
Cinnamon.
He's 22 years old.
Stage 3, cinnamon.
Yeah, he's 22. He's
Oh
it's
man.
funny.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens with him.
But yeah, keep an eye out for the album. I'll probably get it up tomorrow. I took a lot of photos from the game, caught a lot of emotions, so I'm just going through all the photos and editing them, and I'll be sharing them very shortly.
Yeah, that reminds me of one picture I took in San Antonio. They had there's this old dude. He had a sign that said El Paso Strong. You know, I think a bunch of people came from El Paso. But yeah, dude was picking his nose, and I just happened to grab that pic. I was like, oh man. Yeah. So yeah, sometimes that happens. Yeah, I look forward to those pictures.
We didn't talk about Ricardo Peláez.
Oh, more Chihuahua talk.
John mentioned him.
Yes, John mentioned it earlier.
Oh, he did.
Uh,
He was kind of cutting in and out, so
well, the big rumor is that Chivas is in talk with him. He's still in contract with Cruz Azul. So if he does come, it wouldn't be until next season. Um, so he hasn't officially cut ties with Cruz Azul, but at this point, I think it's pretty obvious that he's no longer going to be affiliated with them, and he is in high demand. And since Chivas is going to be coming up, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, all these rumors floating now about who's coming to Chivas, and all of that has to do with the TV money. They're December, they're going to be negotiating for TV rights, both in the U.S. and Mexico. So that's it's going to be some nice chunk of change they're going to have. The last TV contract they had in the U.S. was for 80 million. It was
wow.
16 million. Yeah, 16 million a year for 5 years. 80. And so we could, just for inflation, we could say about 20 million a year. If they do another 4 or 5 year contract, we're looking at about 100 million just for US TV rights alone. And so they never, they didn't get one, and it's pretty sure they're not getting one for this season. In the US, they've been on YouTube with NBC Universal helping them with the streaming. And so I was like, what? Why would Chivas lose out on potentially about 16 million for the season? Why would they? Because they're losing out on that. That's a lot of money to lose out on. And I'm guessing, just going off of like reports of like the type of contract they had with Televisa, which was like I think there's like a compete clause, which is like, okay, so let's say that the contract expired and you're gonna negotiate with someone else, and then they because of that contract, they could equal that. They're allowed to equal that, whatever someone offers you. And so
Okay.
you know what I mean? So it's sort of like if they want to do in the U.S. and they say, okay, Telemundo offers you 12, and Televisa could be like, okay, well, we could give you 12 because the clause is there. They would get it. So Telemundo would have to offer way more, like we'll give you 20 or 25. And which point Televisa was like, well, yeah, we don't want to pay that much, and then they will go to like Telemundo. So that's my take, and I'm guessing that if they are gonna work with someone, they just want that that non-complete compete clause to like expire, and that way they could negotiate like a open table with highest bidder. At which point, I mean, NBC Universal looks to be in the front running. I'm guessing just because of the streaming.
I mean, the more money, the better. I'm trying to bring in some world class talent. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, and the same for Mex. So when we look at the reports for Mex, they supposedly Dev Azteca paid 14 million for the for this year's Chivas rights, and then, but see the whole thing was where then Televisa came in and they were gonna sue them, and so Chivas had to give the rights for free to Televisa. So if I'm Dev Azteca, I'm like, you might want to get half of that money back. So who knows if they did get that 14? Um, and they weren't the only ones. But it's only a 1 year thing. So once it expires, and they were already getting 14, uh, I wonder who they'll negotiate with, and that's so yeah, we're looking at I would say close to 200 million just for TV right. So
Wow.
yeah, you got all these promoters lining up. They're like, hey, we see you got some money here, you know. Everybody's trying to get you into their store now. Come spend over here. So I do think that's a big part of all these rumors that are flying now. Of like, oh, which player are they getting, and which director deportivo and all this. And I do think it's with the promoters because that's part of what they do is they'll pay some of these uh, news outlets to run articles and to get the people talking, which adds pressure to the directiva to bring in someone.
Welcome, Hugo Sanchez, the poster.
Yes,
I'm already gonna piss it all away, says Luisito Neymar on the chat.
Chivas is gonna piss it all away.
Amauri is gonna piss it all away.
Yeah, well they've been doing that for they, that's yeah, goddamn. Yeah, they're more likely to do that. But
Are they gonna do another
I-
movie?
I'm kissing. I'm another Chiva movie. I don't know, man. But I'm hoping they won't. I'm hoping they won't. It's been what four seasons without Liguilla. That's a lot of money they've lost there. So Chivas has been losing a lot of money, not being in Liguilla, no TV rights in the U.S. And then not even Chivas TV because then they could have said, okay, we're gonna make it so if you want to watch Chivas in the U.S., you have to buy Chivas TV. Nope, it's free. You could just go to YouTube and see it for free.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's a lot of money that they've just been missing out on.
So it's time to cash in and buy some quality talent.
Yeah, but it's like you know what? Even if you're seeing that they're getting 150 whatever million, 2 million, they can't spend all that on transfers. You know, and if you say okay, they're gonna spend 60 million on transfers, you have to take in mind wages.
Chivas is handicapped also, man. They're handicapped and their player pool is smaller than any other team's player pool. So they're at a disadvantage from the start. But yeah, if they can get some good player somewhere. Maybe Pachuca has some developed players that they can pass over or something like that. There's a Pocho in
I heard
Pachuca.
there's a guy named JJ Mack. He's pretty good.
JJ
Hey,
Mack.
that's 15 million if they do get it, and you could get a good Mexican for that amount. Just bring in Montes. They just need like three. Bring in three quality Mexicans, and Chivas will be. They'll be back in Liguilla.
Hugo says
Eh,
Chivas should go after Loco Abreo's kid.
He didn't even make the cut to the World Cup. He got
What?
snubbed.
He did? He was
Yeah,
scoring
he did.
goals, but
Yeah, he
he's
got.
tied. He's you know who else? Because there's also there's three kids now, and so Loco Abreo's kid's one of them, and then there's the dude from Cruz Azul, Chaco's kid, and then there's dude, what was his name? He was Argentine. He was Cruz Azul as well. Um, he would do good up until playoffs, and then he would suck. Uh, he went to France. He ended up going to France. Uh, Chaco was it? No, not Chaco. God damn, you guys don't remember?
Mm-mm.
He was with the national team. It was him and he was from Rosario Central, and it was with Federico. Uh, I think was the other guy. It was two Argentines. They were both from Rosario, and they both came to Cruz Azul. And one of them went to Italy, and then
Hmm.
this this guy ended up going to France.
Chelito? No,
Yes,
was
it
it?
is Chelito. Yes,
And
that's him.
Luciano, Chelito and Luciano Figueroa were like the
There you go. There
yeah.
you go. Those were the two players. They were both at Rosario Central, and then they both came to Cruz Azul, and that was when Bielsa was coach with Argentina, and he would call them up. So Cruz Azul fans are all like high and mighty, having two two Argentine seleccionados. But his son is playing too.
That Cruz Azul team was rocking, man, back in the day. So yeah, we'll see what happens with the holy flock.
Wait, so you're saying that his son didn't make the cut for the under 17?
No, unfortunately not.
Well, this is from 2 days ago from Medio Cierto. Hijo de Sebastián Abreu pretendido por Chivas.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, so Hugo also says they should go after Marcel Ruiz and Sebastián Jurado.
Oh,
So
yeah,
those
with
two
Ruiz. They
players,
did try going after him, but I think Ruiz is he said that he's an America fan,
mm,
which hasn't stopped players before, but I don't think he wanted to come, which I think we remember. I don't know if you guys remember, maybe like 2 seasons back, and a lot of outlets were already saying it was a done deal that Chivas had bought Ruiz, and there was all this news saying how Chivas was just gonna ruin him. So and but turns out that yeah, the deal didn't go through, and I don't know. He is a really good player. I wouldn't mind.
and Jurado's probably who wouldn't want to get out of Veracruz, but uh, yeah, we'll have to
But if
see.
you're a goalkeeper, I don't know, man.
Dude
If
cries.
you're a goal,
Dude has been.
I wouldn't mind. You get so many shots per game,
But I
you know.
mean, like you mentioned, they're not getting paid.
Oh, the other not. That's the downside. And dude must get like over 50 shots on goal. He's getting the best training you could get.
Yeah, but he's suffering, man. He wants to win. That one game where they almost won, he was like,
I mean, you do want to win,
he
but
was crying when he came off the field, man. So, but I
he
guess,
has pride, Chiquis.
yeah,
Chiquis, he has pride.
yeah. I guess you got to suffer to get the best. You got to break yourself down to build yourself back up.
I don't know if Chivas need a new goalkeeper. Toño's fine. Godinho's fine. More concerned about that defense and midfield.
Yeah, the defense has been horrific. I think partly is because of the way they push up so much. They were pushing up unnecessarily, and their defense was left in array, and the counterattacks got them. And that one dude, what's his name? Like, well, both of them, him and Pollo, like they were gaffing, man. They were acting a fool over there and getting scored
It's
on.
funny because yesterday I was watching players. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot we had him. Gael Sandoval. He
Yeah.
played pretty much the whole game. You also had Tortas Perez. He used to be a staple on the team, man. He's kind of just drifted apart. So it was watching these players. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about them.
All right, guys. Well, I guess we can end the podcast there. Uh, thanks, Jaime, for joining. Look forward to future picks and coverage of events.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you guys for having me, and just got to keep it pushing over here in the Bay Area. Try and get involved as in many games as possible. Zacatepec is going to be playing against Oakland Roots on Saturday,
Ooh,
so that's kind of interesting.
yeah, good activity.
Zacate who?
Zacate who? Dude,
Uh,
that team is rocking, man.
Zacatepec, they got a nice stadium in Zacat. They're not from Zacatecas, but
Mexico's
one of the
nearest.
nicest. They're one of the nicest Ascenso stadiums out there.
Yeah, John always talks about going for a road trip visit, but we'll see. Well, thanks for coming on. Enjoy the
Thank
weekend.
you, Chiquis. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with this national team with this CONCACAF Nations League. Thanks to Luisito on the chat, to Hugo, to everyone else who listens on the podcast, and we will hopefully be on over the weekend, maybe after the national team games, or next week for sure. Maybe we'll do a daytime podcast, but for sure on Thursday night again next week. This is Albert Campa, CantinaMX podcast. This episode 219. Wow, high number there. We'll see you guys next time.
And time for Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.